Hey everyone, my name is Ray Rogers. Welcome back from spring break. Guess I won't be needing these anymore. I'm going to talk to you guys today about gender issues and disasters. It's a very prevalent issue, and it's not something that people may realize exist, but it's definitely out there. We're going to talk about some of the issues that women face as well as men. One of the biggest issues that women face in times of disaster is the fact that they don't have access to sanitary needs, as well as the fact that they may lose their clothes, and this becomes a very large issue, especially in areas of the world where it's required for women to have clothes, due to their religious values as well. Women are definitely subject to a lot of prejudice in times of disaster relief. They lack resources in terms of economic, social resources. This is especially prevalent in Africa as well. And they also serve a very multifunctional role. They have to be the caregivers, they have to be the head of the household, and they have to be taking care of the children as well. But they also need to be doing some form of relief effort. So it's a very challenging role. Sometimes they may even find themselves in the fact that they have to act as soldiers. There's very different types of disasters, and there can be eternal conflict, which is also a disaster. So the fact that they function so many roles, yet they don't really receive a lot of the recognition that comes from the males, is a challenging one indeed. A lot of the problems stem from the fact that emergency managers don't actually receive training in the sensitivity of gender roles when they have to go into a disaster and start formulating plans. This is a large issue because if we don't receive training, then obviously this is a problem that will just keep stemming and nothing will change from it. Now, there's been many examples of women that have come through and prevailed in forms of disasters. In 1985, during the Hurricane Mitch in Guatemala, women were out digging ditches and doing a lot of the male functions of relief that normally we didn't see. And to be honest with you, this definitely came to some of criticism from the men. Now, this was just one of many examples. Another was after the earthquake in Mexico in the mid-80s as well. Women actually formed a union that was recognized by Mexico to save their jobs as seamstress. There's been various types of issues with women obviously as well, that they just needed to come together and form their own social networks. There was one example that I came across that a man in Bangladesh was holding on to his daughter and son at the time of a flood. And he said that he had to let his daughter go because his son had to carry on the family. This is obviously, unfortunately, a part of their culture, but the fact that this had to happen is incredible, and there's no reason it ever should. Now, while I've been discussing women a lot, there's also some male-based roles that come into play as well. Men have faced a lot of the psychological brunt of trying to be the caregiver and trying to provide for their family, and in times of disaster, they feel very inadequate, that they can't really take care of their family and that they have just kind of lost hope with the family. Now, there's also another case of Chernobyl where it was approximately 800,000 men that were soldiers and civilians that took the bear of the radiation in the cleanup process. So there's definitely some male issues as well. Another example is also in Africa where they received food aid. However, it was in uncooked food, and the men had no idea how to cook it, and many of them starved if they didn't have their wives or daughters around them. So there's definitely the other side of it, where people don't realize there'll be just as much in men as it could be in women. But there's definitely, the issues out there are underlying, and a big step that has to be taken is emergency management needs to be trained on this. Also, there just needs to be a lot better data collected. There needs to be long-term goals set for better women and men, and there also just has to be some data that just shows the psychological impacts as opposed to men and women. There really just needs to be a segregation that understands that this isn't just people in a country that are receiving relief, it's men, women, and children, and all play a very different factor into the rebuilding of the structure. Now, one of the greatest things that can happen from the recognition of gender roles is that women empowerment goes along with this rebuilding of infrastructure during relief. Now, this can really tie in hand, and this would just be a very positive effect in a lot of these areas where it might not necessarily come at the time, But when you're rebuilding and you're going to focus now on these different types of issues, you can really bring this together and really reshape the community. And this is just something that will be beneficial to all. Thank you and have a great day.